So today we'll be talking about the 3D animation and visual effects industry. Sometimes it can be challenging to get into the VFX industry. You know, it's like a faraway wonderland that not many people know about. So as an industry professional, I'd like to ask you some questions about the industry. So for the record, could you please state your name and what your role is at TBA?
My name's Nick Smalley and I am Head of Animation at Time-Based Arts.
Hi, yeah, I'm Joseph Ibet, and I am an FX generalist, is what I'd say, / 3D artist.
I'm Henrik Kramer. I'm a CG generalist, or like just a 3D artist. 3D artist.
Hi, I'm a 3D artist. I'm doing 3D and VFX basically.
So could you please tell us, how did you find out about the marvelous industry of animation?
I mean, probably like a lot of people would like watching cartoons and stuff. Obviously Toy Story and Jurassic Park and that kind of stuff. On the DVD they had the making of stuff, and it's just like, oh my god, this is like cool. Because you have no idea when you watch these films. You're like, there's something going on, something isn't real, but to see the extent of what isn't real and see how they go about it and stuff, it was just, yeah, it's just fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah, so basically I've been studying it in uni. Well, initially I didn't do animation, I was doing fine art and I didn't really like it. So I looked on the university's website and I found about this course and I quite liked the description. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go there and transfer there. And I did.
So I already kind of knew before I went to in secondary school. I already kind of knew that I wanted to be a 3D artist, just general, because I like just doing everything instead of only modeling. So I ended up at a company where I worked for 4.5 years in Amsterdam. There are only 4 generalists there, so you had to do everything.
I had a bit of a strange way of getting here, I guess. I had no idea that the VFX industry existed, despite being a massive fan of Pacific Rim, the movie. I will talk about this at every opportunity. And being like, wow, these robots and giant fish are wicked, but I didn't really put 2 and 2 together in that somebody has to make that. So I think I did sort of started messing around with editing. I bought a camera, taking photos, and then I found Blender. I think this is just all like internet, you know, gremlin, like searching around. Eventually discovered through Blender stuff, it was like, oh, there's like a better Blender, which is Houdini.
Do you remember any funny stories or moments that happened when you were fresh into the industry, into the job?
It was actually in my second week. In 2021, it was the Euros. I basically called Sam by mistake old. He's our head of department. So yeah, it was the Euros, and then some people organized some drinks and a projector to like basically watch the football. Done that on a Friday, blah blah blah, and then on a Monday, first thing when I come back in the morning, Sam's asking me, "Oh, how's your weekend been?" And I was like, "Oh well, I was hanging out with the young people of the company." It was like, "What? So you're basically calling me old?" I was so embarrassed because I did not want to call him that basically.
The first thing that springs to mind is people not locking the toilet door. Like, and it happened more often than you'd think. And it's like, come on. I don't think, maybe I was guilty of it once.
I don't know. Okay, funny because I know that like Danny's got a really good one.
Danny
P.
Ah, well, Danny P didn't want to be in this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Danny P putting a banana on someone's head. Make sure you get that story.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is quite a precarious banana placement, you know, it could fall off at any point. Whereas with him, it was more like stuck to his head, you know. It kind of like, the banana kind of like went with the curvature of his head. So it fit quite nicely like this. It was a really embarrassing story that happened when I was doing my 2-week internship at CBA. But I just thought it'd be funny to put a banana on his head whilst he was working. but he didn't find it very funny, and he just kind of looked at me with the banana on his head and asked me to take it off.
Do you remember any funny or memorable stories?
Yeah, so like the first job, I really love that as well. Like the first job I worked on was like a Nissan ad, like it was called Take No Sides, and it was it's a Nissan commercial for the Middle East, for Saudi Arabia. And I remember we did this big sequence in the end. There was like this car, and then there were like buildings coming out of the ground, and then we built an we made a lot of buildings, and then the month and a half after they said, oh, we actually want a different kind of city. So, and then just the first month and a half I just worked for nothing then, and then you just threw everything away.
When you just joined the industry, so when you just joined TBA, were you like a junior generalist from the get-go?
Yeah, so basically I got an internship for 3 months, and during those 3 months, June, July and August, I was really trying to like prove that I can stay longer, please. And after that finished, I got a freelance opportunity here, and then after that I got a permanent position.
So you mentioned that you're the head of animation. So how did you get to being the head of animation?
Lots of hard work and ass kissing. I did foundation, like multimedia kind of thing. So you get graphics and photography, all that, a bit of everything. And there's a 3D section. A couple of years of that in Norwich. And then I was looking at uni courses and stuff, but someone had mentioned film schools and stuff.
Like art schools?
Art schools, yeah, like in America and Canada. And they were mainly like shorter, intensive courses. So I ended up going to Vancouver Film School for a year. It was cool because it was like intensive days. So it was like a 9 till 6 every day. It was great. It was exactly what I needed. And I was so hungry for it. And then classic, like just applied to a load of film places, a load of animation feature places, commercial places as well. Yeah, didn't really get much of a positive response back. I was like, fuck. Well, now what am I gonna do? I thought we were all quite good at this. No one was interested. So I came home and just the right time, right place. I got an email back from Glassworks in London. Yeah, so just as like they had this robot dog job and they needed an animator, and I had on my reel I'd done like some quadruped monster thing, like jumping off and like I don't know, doing something okay, wasn't that great, so they took a chance on me. Yeah, so that was great, and I obviously made a good impression on my boss Alistair, who's like he's my work idol. And shout out to Alistair. Yeah, I stayed there for like 8 years. Freelance for a bit at ETC and the mill. I was at the mill for like a year, or a bit more than a year, which is fun because I was just animating and not loads of responsibility or anything. So I was just like, oh, do my shots. So I had a year out, went traveling, and then came back. Forgot how to do everything. I was like, NBC took me on for like a three week job or something. I was like sat in front of the computer and I'm like, okay. Honestly, man, I couldn't do anything. Thank God that I was at a place that they knew that I was not. What's the PC term? Not not very good. Yeah, so I was able. It took 3 weeks to get back up to speed and learn how to like animate again, and then the job got canned. And so then that's when I came here. Right. That's when I came here. It's a long-winded way. You better edit this.
We're already 16 minutes in and we're on the first question. Have you ever encountered a challenge in your career or job, whether it is a difficult project or something that you don't know how to do or something difficult, and how did you overcome it?
Yeah. I mean, like, whilst being here, there's been a few tricky projects, I guess. Like, it feels like every job has at least one shot that's, like, kind of horrible in terms of, like, it's new, I don't know what I'm doing, it's hard to get it to look right, and, like, you know, there's always a bit of a mountain to climb. For the Revolut job that we did, there was this clothy cave that we were doing, that the main character was going on the magical journey. it was this shot where she kind of like expands the world. The shot before, I did it once. Made the environment. It took me like half a day. But then this next one, it's like the same world but just from a different angle, and it took me like a month to get right. And I was just, I just couldn't get it due to like the lens and the way that she's moving, and it's like a POV shot. I just couldn't get it to look right, and that was horrible. So that's for that. But the advice or the solution to that was just to keep trying.
I think sometimes when you get some of those, like one of those jobs when nothing's quite right, is where you have to combine version 36 with version 1 and then add a bit of like version 3 as well.
Oh, classic interview question. Overcome it by winging it.
Great.
Overcome any challenge by winging it. Yeah, I'd say most jobs are a challenge, actually. Everything's always like a bit different. Some stuff, over the years, some stuff crops up again and again, and it's like, oh, I know how we could achieve this, or how to animate that. But researching on the job when you have to do it is probably the way that we all kind of muddle through. You know, whether it's learning how a dog walks again because you haven't done it for ages, and it's like you have to, you know, or anything, how to use a piece of software because I don't do it enough and I've forgotten how. There's no way of possibly knowing all of the software stuff, all of the types of software and everything within that thing. So it's just like, if you know of things and know how to do your little bit, then when you're asked to do something else, or you know you need to do something else, just think about it then.
Have you ever come across a challenge in your career, whether it was a difficult job or a difficult sequence or something? How did you deal with it?
I think that project that always comes to mind is like the job with the rooster, and we had another project going with a cow with 24 shots, and they still wanted to do that CG rooster. I did like one bird before, like with grooming and everything, CFX, and this one had to be like fully real. And then my boss like said, okay, Hendrik, do you want to sort of lead, or like not lead, like do the from look dev till like final lighting, and then we get a freelance for rigging and a freelance for animation and a freelance modeler, but for the rest you have to do like 24 shots. And
24
it
shots?
was 24 shots, and then we had like a real rooster and it had to look like that rooster. And I said yes, just because like, but the thing is I couldn't imagine the end result. That was the thing. I couldn't like, I didn't think I could finish it. And then in the middle of the project, I was in the train, and there was like this CFX problem, and I thought, I can't. Like, oh man, I'm gonna ask my boss if someone else can do it. And then I didn't ask my boss and then I just like, and then I remember the last day I did an all-nighter. I came out to work on a Thursday, and I gave the renders to comp, and then I was sitting, and I didn't have to do anything anymore, and I was just sitting from the screen, and my eyes were like going like this, and I never felt prouder. And I think that project is kind of also like helped me. It's a cool project, like you never get opportunities like that, so that's probably mine. Yeah.
Do you have, as the most senior person in the 3D and VFX interview?
I thought you were going to say in this room.
Okay, so do you have, as the most senior person in this interview, role-wise, not age-wise, as the most senior person in this interview, the head of 3D animation, do you have any advice for rookies trying to join the industry?
Rookies, be willing to do anything. You know, it's the classic getting a foot in the door. Showreel advice, keep it relatively short. Especially if you're starting out, like it's tempting to put more stuff on, to bulk it out. But often putting stuff on that isn't your best work, it can really devalue the whole thing.
So how long would you say? 30 seconds? 1 minute?
Yeah, about a minute, it's fine. Like, and you'll see people with 2 minutes, 3 minutes. But if it's all good and they've got 20 years experience, then that's fine, you know, whatever. But if you're starting out, it's like better to put less on, it's better quality. you know, if I look at showreels and it's got some stuff that's a bit dubious, I will be like, oh, well, like, you must think that that's good then, and then be like, well, I don't trust your opinion. You know, it's like, no, well, this is the mindset that we all have. It's like, that's what I mean by devaluing it. So, and you know, and if you've only got work that you're okay with, then like do it again. Watch some reference that you think looks cool. Watch something in Pixar or anything. Something that you think looks real and good or funny or whatever, and just copy it. Like copy it, not necessarily to be like, oh, look what I did. It's like copy it to understand what's happening. And you know, this stuff, I guess it just takes time of doing it. So just keep doing it.
Keep working and keep on doing, and don't lose hope. And when you get feedback from other people, take that into consideration.
It's quality over quantity. So I would just, like, if you want to start with the product that you want to do. So you start with one, even if you have 1 or 2 in your demo reel, that's enough. And then start with something simple and try to, like, so for instance, like if you have a lamp or something and a little scene, try to make the best out of that. And then if you have 2, that's even enough. And then also I think it's also about not giving up and just like not giving up, but more also just like be a bit patient. So like just wait, just don't rush your product in 2 weeks. You can also do 2 months.
When it comes to someone's showreel, for example, you'd say it's better to have, let's say, two projects that are really good instead of 8.
If you're starting out, if you have 8, for instance, and then you have like one that's really good, and the other 7 are totally like rushed, and then that is like, it also shows that you don't have an eye for like what's bad and what's good. So you rather like show less than show more. But yeah.
Quality over quantity.
Yeah,
Got it.
Yeah, that's a nice one. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of thoughts, a lot of feelings. Figure out what you like. Very important. You're going to spend 8 hours a day doing something. You need to enjoy the process of doing it enough to want to do that as a career. Because, for example, I always thought at times I wanted to be like an illustrator or some sort of other kind of designer, but I was just in love with the end result. Like, I like amazing drawings and I like amazing, designs, but I didn't actually really like drawing. With me now doing FX, I just like doing the thing. It almost doesn't matter what I'm working on. So it makes like the process of, in quite a competitive industry where you have to really like work hard and shine and like stand out. If you just like doing it, you'll do it and then you'll get better and everything will be fine. Ultimately, all the things that you need to do to get a job involve just, working on your shots, improving your skills, networking, get on some Facebook groups, talk to everyone. Like, I'd be really annoying at any sort of party or something. I'd be like, oh, visual effects. And I think as long as you kind of like doing it, you'll find your way naturally.